Hey, what's up to you all? And welcome back to my garage. Today I'll be working on a 2014 Dodge Charger 5.7. What you're looking at right now is a power brake booster. This power brake booster has went out on this vehicle. I noticed it when I went to move the vehicle from the street to the shop. When I went to press on the brake was pretty firm, it was pretty stiff. I was able to get the vehicle started. As some of you may know, if the power brake booster is going out or is going bad, when you decompress on the brake pedal, you may hear a hissing noise. If the system cannot create enough vacuum, it won't even allow you to press the brake in order to move the shifter from park to drive. But luckily, I was able to. So, I'm going to try to walk you guys through step by step on how to fix this issue. I've noticed online, I've noticed on other forums, there's few answers and there's few videos to show people how to actually get this done. I have already pulled this one from the vehicle, but I'll show you or try to walk you through how I was able to get this out of the vehicle. Alright, so to start off, there is going to be a few trim pieces that you have to remove in order to clear a path for the brake booster to even come out of the vehicle. Alright, so first up you have the plastic trim. This is going to be held down by a lot of plastic clips. You can use a plastic clip remover to pop those up. And then once you pop those up, you still have to remove your windshield wipers. And those windshield wipers are going to be covered. There's a bolt, there's a 14mm bolt, I believe, that is covered up by plastic caps like that. You have to pop that plastic cap, use a 14mm socket and a ratchet to remove that bolt, that nut that's holding it down. And once you remove that nut, you'll be able to lift this plastic trim up, take the windshield wipers off, and push those to the side. The next thing you have to remove is this bar. This bar, I believe, is held down with a 14mm bolts as well. Alright, once you get those bolts out on both sides, you will be able to pop that bar off. That bar is going to sit on your windshield wiper motor too, so you'll have to move it to the left and lift up. On this side of the bar, that's where your PCM sits at, so you have to remove that as well. But once you get these two pieces out of the way, the next thing you have to get out of the way is your windshield wiper motor and this bracket. This bracket is going to be held down by two 10mm bolts on each side. Once you remove these bolts, you'll be able to remove this whole entire bracket. Alright. After removing those few pieces, the next thing I removed was the master cylinder. Alright. The master cylinder is secured to the power brake booster by two 13mm nuts. I use a deep 13mm socket and my ratchet to remove those nuts, and I also use a 14mm open end wrench in order to remove the brake lines from the master cylinder. When you remove the brake lines from the master cylinder, be sure to put some type of paper towels or rags underneath the brake lines, because brake fluid will leak onto the inside of your vehicle, and if it touches paint, it will remove that paint. When replacing this master cylinder, there's a rubber seal that sits around the mating surface. Be sure to replace that rubber seal. After removing the master brake cylinder from the power brake booster, you will have to come inside of the vehicle and remove this panel in order to reach the four 13mm bolts that secure the power brake booster to the firewall of the vehicle. In order to remove this panel, which is on the driver's side underneath the steering column, you will have to remove two 7mm screws that secure it in place here. And then I use a tool, a plastic pry tool like this, in order to get in between this crack and pry it down. Once you pry, what you're doing is you're moving these clips. It's one clip here, one clip there, and I believe two more clips on that side, and you can drop this panel. Once you drop this panel, you will see the four 13mm bolts that secure the power brake booster to the firewall. I reached those bolts using a combination of some extensions and of course my 13mm socket and my ratchet to remove those bolts. After removing the four 13mm bolts that secure the power brake booster to the firewall of the vehicle, you can use a flat tip screwdriver to remove the metal retaining clip from around this bracket on the brake pedal. Once you remove that clip, you can remove the arm from the power brake booster out of the way. That releases the brake pedal. Before removing the power brake booster completely from the vehicle, you have to go back up top and remove the vacuum hose from the power brake booster. So this is the check valve that sits on your power brake booster. Your hose will be a rubber hose that connects to this nipple here on the check valve. In order to remove that hose, you can use a pair of pliers. You grip it slightly and rotate back and forth to break it loose. Once you break that hose loose, you can remove that hose off of that nipple. Some vehicle may have like a clip that's also on there, and you just pinch the two ends, remove the clip, then use the pliers, pinch the hose, shake back and forth, loosen it up, and then remove the hose. And of course, unplug the adapter from the connection port here, and then you'll be able to remove the whole power brake booster from the vehicle. Alright, so this is the part number for a brake booster, and this brake booster will go on a 2014 Dodge Charger 5.7. Alright, so when you're replacing this part, be sure to open the box. And inside, of course, you should have your seal that you replace on your master cylinder, and of course your brake booster. This is your check valve. This check valve sits on your power brake booster. Some people buy a new one and replace it along with the new power brake booster, or you can simply take this off your old power brake booster and put it on your new power brake booster, since your new power brake booster does not come with a check valve. Alright, so the best way to remove it is once you remove the power brake booster completely, grab it with one hand, rock back and forth, and it will come out. Alright, you can leave the rubber grommet on the power brake booster. Your new power brake booster does have a rubber grommet installed. How this check valve works is it's a one-way check valve. It allows air to go through one way but not the other. The best way that you can test this check valve and see if it's properly working is you can blow into this end, and you should hear the air blowing through the check valve, and then blow on this end and you will hear a click, which lets you know that it's actually closing off and it's only allowing air to go one way, so it's functioning properly. Out with the old and with the new. Just a little recap: 2014 Dodge Charger 5.7. The issue with this vehicle was the brake pedal became very firm and stiff when pressed. I was able to get this vehicle started and move from the street and into the shop. After getting the vehicle into the shop, I pressed on the brake and I heard a constant hissing noise. The constant hissing noise brought me underneath the hood. The constant hissing noise is caused by an air leak in the system, or commonly known as vacuum. I checked the hose, I checked the check valve, and I checked the power brake booster. The power brake booster failed the test. The reason the power brake booster failed the test could be there's damage to the power brake booster diaphragm inside, which will cause constant air to leak out. When this happens, this can cause the vehicle to not start because there's no vacuum. The only way to fix this problem is to replace the power brake booster in its entirety, which is exactly what I did. What you're looking at right now is the new power brake booster. I also replaced the gasket that sits around the brake master cylinder. I put everything back together, started the vehicle, and the brake pedal went back to normal. I highly suggest after completing this job that you bleed the braking system. With that being said, that wraps up this job. Until next time.